moment in court proclaiming his hate for America. A Sudbury pharmacist convicted of helping al-Qaeda has a 20-minute outburst before sentencing. Hi, everybody. Maria Stefano.
And I'm Mark Oxblom. Tarek Mahana compared himself and his struggles to Nelson Mandela, also Paul Revere, and then received a standing ovation from supporters after he was sentenced. Bob Ward was in that courtroom. Bob?
Mark, it was a remarkable day here in U.S. District Court. Tarek Mahana at one point stood up to talk to the judge, to speak to the court, and he went on a 20-minute rant, and in that rant he said that he believes that Muslims everywhere should stand up to their oppressors. After he was done with that, he sat down and then got into an argument with the prosecutor. He called the prosecutor a liar. He told the prosecutor to sit down. All of this happening in open court in front of supporters, and those supporters still feel that Tarek Mahana has been denied justice. To the chants of Free Tarek, dozens of supporters for Tarek Mahana crowded into U.S. District Court in South Boston, where the 29-year-old Sudbury man convicted on terrorism charges was sentenced. Inside the courtroom, a defiant Tarek Mahana spoke for 20 minutes, telling the judge he is a devout Muslim, comparing himself to Martin Luther King and Nelson Mandela. Mahana railed against U.S. wars in Afghanistan and Iraq and abuses by American servicemen in those theaters. Mahana urged Muslims to defend themselves. Mahana said, quote, "In your eyes, I am a terrorist. I am the only one standing here in an orange jumpsuit. History repeats itself. One day, America will change. One day, America will look back and recognize this day for what it is." After he was sentenced, Mahana's supporters gave him a standing ovation in the courtroom, and later his family stood by him.
So proud of him. I'm so proud of him. This is my son.
If you think the injustice will be confined to Muslims, you are wrong, dead wrong. Try to be mindful of what's coming in the future.
Tarek Mahana was sentenced to 17.5 years for conspiring to try to carry out al-Qaeda-inspired plots against U.S. soldiers, including a failed trip to Yemen to join a training camp. Prosecutors say, despite what his supporters believe, Tarek Mahana was and continues to be a dangerous man.
In many ways, people see what they want to see. And if he was so gentle and so kind, would you have seen the defiant, angry individual that you saw in court today?
Tarek Mahana, again sentenced to 17.5 years in a federal prison. When he is released, he will have supervised release for 7 years. Tarek Mahana's lawyers today said they're already planning their appeal, and they will file that appeal on Monday. Bob,
I know over the years you've been in a lot of courtrooms. This was quite a sentencing here. Have you ever seen anything like this?
No, I've absolutely never seen anything like this. We'll start right with the people that were crowded into that courtroom. That courtroom, U.S. District Court, was absolutely packed. And when Tarek Mahana walked into the courtroom before the judge came in, and after the judge left, it was almost like a rock star. People just started waving at him, smiling at him, saying, "I love you." And then after this hearing today, they stood up and gave him a standing ovation for a man who's just been sentenced to 17.5 years, a man that the U.S. District Attorney says is still a very dangerous person to Americans everywhere, because they believe that he was trying to enlist other people in jihad against the American government. And then I'm not even getting into that 20-minute rant where Tarek Mahana pretty much went over all of his beliefs from the time he was a little boy, when he read Batman comic books and saw the world in black and white, the oppressors and the oppressed, right up until today and the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. It was a remarkable day.
Bob, we'll have much more from you coming up at 6:30. Thank you.